If keeping more of my hard-earned money makes me the bad guy, then fine. I'll be the villain in your little story. But I know the truth. So apparently Black Americans moving to Puerto Rico are colonizers now. Yeah, that's the new narrative, right? Well, let's talk about that. Because this whole argument isn't just wrong, it's hypocrisy. Because if we're going to talk about who built what, where, and who welcomed who, and who this system really favored, we need to tell the whole story. Because what's being thrown around as colonization is really just selective memory. Calling Black people colonizers sound powerful until you look at the actual history. A history that shows Black Americans have always been the most excluded, the most exploited, and yet somehow still the most welcoming. So let's rewind, because the same people calling us colonizers today were once welcomed into our neighborhoods, our communities, when no one else wanted them. Hi, my name is Jade, and welcome to Get Into the Black, where we explore life, business, and culture our way, from Puerto Rico to the world. And quick side note, I'm also an Airbnb host here in Puerto Rico. So if you're planning a trip, I'd love to host you. You can find the booking link right in the description box. So before we get into this video, go ahead and hit that like button like it owes you money. Drop a comment so I know you're awake, and subscribe. Cause why be a hater watching for free? Support the cause. We're on the road to 5K subscribers, and we're trying to hit that by the end of the year. So join the fam and help us get there. Now, let's get into this video. When Puerto Ricans migrated to New York around the 1940s through the 1970s, they weren't moving into white neighborhoods. White landlords didn't want them. White employers didn't want them. White schools didn't want their kids. So where did they go? To Harlem, the South Bronx. Places already filled with Black folks who had come north during the Great Migration. These were people fleeing Jim Crow, the children and grandchildren of enslaved Africans, who still couldn't get loans, still couldn't buy homes, still faced police brutality every day. And despite all that, we opened our doors. Black people share neighborhoods, churches, and even political spaces with Puerto Ricans. We saw them as brothers and sisters in the same struggle. We said, come in, you belong with us. And that's not something you can erase just because a hashtag is trending. I remember a Puerto Rico man here on the island telling us something that stuck with me. I'm going to start the story from the beginning. We were at the chiropractor. This man was staring us down. I was a little concerned because I was like, why is he staring at us this way? I really thought it was beef or something. I didn't know what was going on. Until he said to us, he said, I am so happy that you guys are here. When I first moved to the States, it was Black people who welcomed me. White folks treated me like I didn't belong. But it was the Black community that taught me the truth, that to them, I wasn't white either. He said, I'll always be grateful for that. That's what people forget. Black people didn't turn Puerto Ricans away. We embraced them when no one else would. And out of that came real community. Puerto Ricans opened up bodegas, barbershops, laundromats, repair shops, all right inside Black neighborhoods. That's not hate, that's history. In 1960, census data showed that nearly 40% of New York's City Puerto Rican-owned businesses were in majority Black areas. Meanwhile, Black Americans were being systematically locked out of business ownership. Literally, there was red lines being drawn around Black neighborhoods, calling them too risky for loans. Between 1934 and 1968, the federal government
insured over $120 billion in home loans, and less than 20 of that went to Black families. So it was too risky, but not for everyone apparently. It was just too risky for the Black families. The Small Business Administration, the SBA, denied Black applicants at rates 2 to 3 times higher than white or Latino applicants, even when credit scores and income were the same. So while Puerto Ricans were able to start small businesses in our neighborhoods, Black people couldn't even get the capital to start at all. And here's what I find incredible. When Puerto Ricans were getting those loans, when they were opening up businesses in our neighborhoods, and they were buying property and that Black family couldn't even get a mortgage for, we never once called them colonizers. We didn't say, oh, y'all exploiting the hood. Stop gentrifying. We didn't shame them for being able to access systems that we were being locked out of. Because we had enough sense to know that you all were just trying to feed your families like everyone else. We understood that the oppressor wasn't the person sitting next to me. It was the person who built the unfair system. We understood the enemy wasn't our neighbor. It was the institution that kept both of us fighting for crumbs. So fast forward to today. Black Americans finally get a tiny economic break under Act 60. And suddenly we're colonizers. Like, really think about that. We're not being given money. We're not taken away from Puerto Ricans. We're literally just being able to keep more of the money we already earned. And somehow that's oppression. Let me tell you something. If keeping more money in my own pockets, more money that I worked for, and being able to allocate it in how I want, instead of handing it over to my oppressor so he can use it to further oppress me, makes me a colonizer, then call me motherfucker Christopher Columbus, bitch, because I'm not giving them one red penny I don't have to. You can keep advocating for the enrichment of your oppressor, but you'll be doing that by yourself. It doesn't make sense to me how you'll sit there and say the U.S. is oppressing you, that your government is controlled by them, and then in the same breath argue that we should give them more money. It's giving cognitive dissonance. It's giving, I don't really understand how colonization works. You all keep telling me, learn your history, learn the history, learn the history. But here's the kicker, I did, and I continue to learn it. The issue isn't my ignorance, it's yours. Your argument lacks nuance. Your name calling lacks any acknowledgement of my Blackness. You want to erase that part because it doesn't fit your narrative. But me being Black is exactly what shaped what I've had access to, and why you can't tell me I'm oppressing you. Because I'm quite literally a part of the oppressed group. You want to ignore my Blackness because the truth is, this isn't really about tax laws or Act 60. It's about your anti-Blackness. You don't want me here because I'm Black. You're using this moment as an excuse to berate Black people and feel validated in doing it. That's not activism. That's projection. Because the real gag is me keeping my own money out of the hands of a government that's been exploiting both of us for centuries isn't colonization. It's liberation. So let me ask, if my tax break is colonization, then were your bodegas oppressing us? Were your business loans my oppression? Were your property purchases in Black neighborhoods gentrification? No, it wasn't. Because we were all smart enough to see the problem wasn't you. It was the system. So for Puerto Ricans now to try to flip the script and call Black people colonizers for doing the exact same thing they did, that's just not misguided. It's cognitive dissonance. It's hypocrisy. And the saddest part is, this isn't even how it used to be. There was a time when Black and Puerto Rican people stood shoulder to shoulder. Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers, Jose Chacha Jimenez and the Young Lords, fighting together against racism, police violence, and poverty. That was the Rainbow Coalition, built in Chicago in 1969. They fought against slumlords, racism, and government neglect. Together, they ran food programs, free health clinics, and political education. That was solidarity. Black and brown people seeing each other as allies, not enemies. And the best way for us to work together is for us to have more money to circulate in our community. But here's the truth. Neither Black people nor Puerto Ricans created the system. We're both living under it. Puerto Rico has been a U.S. colony since 1898. Its people denied full political power controlled by Washington's interests. Black Americans have lived through 400 years of enslavement, segregation, redlining, and economic exclusion. We're both victims of the same empire. But instead of uniting against it, we're arguing over who's more oppressed. Calling Black people colonizer doesn't challenge the empire. It actually protects it. Because as long as we're fighting each other, the real colonizer, the U.S. government, stays untouched. When Puerto Ricans come to Harlem, to the Bronx, to Brooklyn, we didn't see you as a threat. We saw you as family. We shared space, we shared struggle, and we never forget that your pain was connected to ours. Now, decades later, Black Americans moved to Puerto Rico, not to colonize, but to breathe, to build, to find peace. And somehow that makes us the villains. No, we didn't write Act 60. We didn't design a system that makes the rich richer and everyone else struggle. We're just surviving within it, the same way your grandparents did when they came to our neighborhoods. Now, for my people watching, when someone throws that colonizer word at you, don't get defensive, get factual. Remind them, when Puerto Ricans came to our neighborhoods, we didn't gatekeep, we built together. We helped push for their rights. Fred Hampton's Rainbow Coalition, the Young Lords, and the Black Panthers. That was us showing up for them. We're always understood who the real enemy was. So, if someone tries to twist that history and call you the oppressor, you could smile back and say, baby, the only thing I'm colonizing is financial freedom. Because the real colonizer isn't the Black American moving to Puerto Rico. It's the U.S. government that enslaved us, invaded you, and continues to profit off both. We're both survivors of empire, not enemies in it. So yeah, if keeping more of my hard-earned money makes me the bad guy, then fine. I'll be the villain in your little story. But I know the truth. When Puerto Ricans come to our neighborhoods, we shared what little we had. When we came to yours, we're called colonizers. That's not justice, that's selective memory. If we really care about liberation, we can't keep aiming our anger sideways. Because while we're busy fighting each other, the real colonizer is still sitting on top and cashing checks, profiting off of both our backs. If you really want to talk about colonization, let's do it honestly. Drop your thoughts in the comments, but come with facts, not feelings. Because history didn't start with Act 60. It started with solidarity. And if you really enjoyed this video, you're going to really love the video I'm going to leave here for you at the end. And until next time, stay beautiful, stay blessed, and stay Black. This is Jade, and you're watching Get Into the Black. Bye-bye.